And the other thing I want to talk about is the Jason Bourne movies. Now, first off, I don't really care about the Jason Bourne movies. I thought they were boring, but I respect its film, the way it was filmed and stuff. But they're not. They weren't really action movies. They were just thrillers with action to me. It didn't have a lot of action, you know. So in my idea of action is that it's big, it's so epic, you know. You're running and you're going all through these obstacles, these big obstacles, not these small obstacles like Matt Damon did in those movies. That's what action is to me. I understand. I'm not trying to stereotype what the action genre is. Action can be anything, but action to me is bigger, it's more epic, it's more thrilling, it's more guns and explosions, more big obstacles, not short obstacles. These Jason Bourne movies are just suspense thrillers with action to me. And I'm not the only one who thinks this. There's many other people who think the same way I do. And Matt Damon isn't really an action hero. He's just an action hero for that franchise. That's it. If some of you guys like him, that's like the Bourne movies, that's fine. But me, I'm sorry. You guys gotta go back and learn your history. You gotta go back. Go to your local video store or something on Netflix, whatever. Go back and learn about Rambo and Commando and RoboCop, etc. Mad Max, Chuck Norris. They start the action genre. You're always talking about what's so special with these guys. They're old. They fucking started it all. They put the action genre on the fucking map. If it was for them, you wouldn't have the moves you'd be having today. Go back and learn your fucking history. You think this shit just came out of the blue? It didn't. Some of you young kids out there gotta realize that. And for all you trolls out there, fuck you. Stop being so fucking lazy to learn your fucking history. Think you fucking know everything. You fucking don't.
But it's movies like Quantum of Bullshit and so-called 007. But I'm only saying that because I know Wildman will be happy me to say how much shit it is. You know what, be personally honest, I was never a fan of 007, okay? But it's just pathetic how people shit on these the original guys. I mean, I'm not a fan of the movies. I'm not a fan of Quantum Solace either, and I never was a fan of all the movies. But it's guys at their age, it's one thing. It's just one thing. Like, and if I told people, if Sean Connery were to come out of retirement and do a whole complete spin-off based on the 007 films, I wish, just for the fans, just to make them happy. That's just my opinion. I mean, put it like this. Say if they were going to make another 007 and they wanted to bring back Sean Connery even though he's a bit too old, I bet people would still like it and appreciate the old school 007 fans. I know they'd be happy for that, to see the original James Bond back in the film. But this would take years. This would be like I'm not a fan, so I'm going to try to put this the best way I can. This story takes place like years after the original films. Like, excluded from the ones that we already know that came afterwards, like Roger Moore's and stuff. I meant like, take all that and you have Sean Connery, and when people say, wait a minute, why is James Bond old? Is he getting too old to bleed? And that's when I had to say, no, maybe it's because they want to get the original guy, so that way they can make a whole new story that takes place years and years later, like 40 years later, or supposedly, the best way I can put it. Like, Agent 007's at retirement, retired a long time ago and came back, decides to make a comeback and anything, come up with an inventive storyline, and all the original fans would be happy, like, wow, Sean Connery's back. Just put it like that, people would take that. But it's fucking bullshit. It's fucking not. It's not right if you say, oh, he's getting too old. I don't think he could do these moves anymore. Who said he couldn't? I mean, he's old, but he might be at that certain age and level. He might be at that age, but Like I said, if they were to do another James Bond or whatever, and they decided to do it based on the very original movie, the first one, and the second, whatever the fuck it was, I know it's one of them, and he decided they wanted to bring him back to make a new storyline that's based years later after the original films, and he wanted to come back at retirement, and people saw it and they'd be like, this sucks. This guy's too old. Proof showing that this is ageism. What happened here? A case of ageism.
And I want to go to the big one. I'm going to drop the big bomb here. That really fucking aggravates me to fucking death every time I think about this so-called reboot of James Bond. It ain't James Bond at all. It is not James Bond at all. I don't give a cock fuck what anybody says. Now I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like it, Scene Royale, but it had moments. It had moments. But Quantum of Solid, I swear, the original title, Quantum of Shit, was not James Bond at all. It was like watching Beverly Hills Cop 3 all over again. They made James Bond an emotional wreck. He didn't have any humor. I mean, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? That woke me up and made me realize where Hollywood is going. It is completely gone to shit. James Bond isn't like that. We get. Give me a motherfucking break. This is James Bond, for fuck's sake. James Bond was meant to be a fantasy adventure for adults. It's fucking insulting. And they have bringing up that excuse about, oh, we're just trying to make how he was in the book. I don't give a cock fuck how he was in the books. That was just early character development. That was just early development. I respect Ian Fleming's work. But the James Bond people grew up on was the one from the movies, not the books. So for some of you who like this so-called James Bond, that's fine. But to the trolls who, you know what? Ever since this so-called James Bond reboot started, and reboot is just a fucking excuse to do remakes. It's just a fucking excuse. I don't give a cock fuck what anybody says. Wake the fuck up. It's just a reboot. It's just a fucking excuse, and we don't need that shit. You know what? Ever since the so-called James Bond with Daniel Craig showed up in our face, I've been hearing a lot of people bashing the old school James Bond movie, having no respect for it. Shut the fuck up. James Bond was also the man who put the action genre on the map. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have these rise-cracking action heroes who made jokes every time, like John McClane. When he killed somebody, he always cracked a joke. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger. Every time he was cracking jokes, every time he killed somebody, he always cracked jokes. Where do you think that came from? It came from James Bond, for fuck's sake. Stop thinking this shit came out of the blue. Go back and learn your fucking history, all right? Don't give me your bullshit excuses. You fucking trolls think you fucking know everything. They should stick to basics. Go back to what James Bond used to be. If you want to make it a little dark, mix a little bit darkness with the bright side of James Bond. Then you got them.